The first thing I saw after burying my brother was a damn padlock hanging off my garage door. Not flowers. Not neighbors waiting with casseroles. Not even my wife standing on the porch. A thick silver chain wrapped through the garage handles like somebody was securing a crime scene. And behind the dusty little window panel, barely visible under the flickering overhead light, sat my brother's old 1967 Mustang Fastback. The car we rebuilt together. The car he swore would stay in the family no matter what happened. I stood there in my black funeral suit with dirt still stuck to my shoes from the cemetery in Tulsa, staring at that lock like my brain refused to process it. Then I noticed the note taped to the chain. Do not touch. Property of Derek Hanley. Derek, my brother-in-law. That smug son of a bitch had actually put his own name on my garage. I laughed at first. Honest to God, I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because grief does strange things to your head. 2 hours earlier, I had watched my little brother Caleb lowered into the ground after a drunk driver crossed the median and crushed his truck. Now somehow I was standing in my own driveway looking at a padlock like I was the trespasser. I ripped the note off the chain and marched straight across the lawn to my sister Amanda's SUV. Derek was sitting in the passenger seat drinking from a gas station coffee cup like he didn't have a care in the world. I yanked the door open. What the hell is this? Derek didn't even flinch. That car belongs to Amanda now, he said calmly. Caleb owed us money. I stared at him. You chained him, why garage? You can't be trusted not to take the car. I swear to God, something inside me snapped right there. That Mustang wasn't just a car. Caleb and I spent 6 years rebuilding it in my father's barn outside Muskogee. Summers covered in grease. Winters with frozen hands and cheap beer sitting on toolboxes. Every scratch on that dashboard had a story attached to it. When Caleb got divorced 3 years earlier and nearly drank himself to death, I was the one who kept that car covered and running. Not Derek. Derek never touched a wrench in his life unless it was to hang a TV. You got 5 seconds to take that chain off, I said. Amanda stepped out of the SUV fast. Ethan, stop. Her eyes were red from crying, but there was something else there too. Fear. That's when I realized this wasn't grief talking. They had planned this. Derek slowly stepped out holding the coffee cup with both hands. Calm. Smug. Like he thought he already won. Caleb signed the title over before he died. I froze. No, he didn't. He absolutely did. Show me. His smirk twitched. At the right time. That was enough. I grabbed him by the jacket and slammed him against the SUV so hard the coffee exploded across the windshield. Amanda screamed. Derek yelled, "Assault. You're assaulting me." Then came the flashing lights. I hadn't even noticed the patrol car pulling into the subdivision. Perfect timing. Officer Ruiz stepped out with one hand already resting on his holster. Everybody back away. Right now. Derek immediately pointed at me like a child. He attacked me. Ruiz looked at my funeral clothes, then at the chain on my garage, then at the Mustang inside. What exactly is going on here? And that's when Derek smiled. Not nervous. Not shaken. Confident. Because he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. I can explain, officer, he said. I have the title. And for the first time all day, I felt something worse than grief. I felt fear. Officer Ruiz took the paper from Derek carefully, like he already knew this whole thing was about to turn ugly. The evening air smelled like wet grass and gasoline. Somebody down the block was mowing their lawn like this was just another Tuesday, instead of the worst day of my life. Ruiz unfolded the title while Derek adjusted his jacket and gave me that smug little grin again. I wanted to break every tooth in his mouth. Well, Ruiz said slowly, scanning the page, the title does have Caleb Mercer's signature. Amanda immediately crossed her arms like that settled everything. There, she snapped. Can we leave now? But Ruiz didn't answer her right away. He kept staring at the document. That's when I noticed it too. The signature looked wrong. Not fake exactly. Just stiff. Caleb's handwriting was always messy as hell. His signature usually slanted hard to the right because he rushed everything. But this one looked slow and careful, like somebody trying too hard to copy it. Ruiz looked up at Derek. When was this signed? Last week, Derek answered quickly. Ruiz nodded once. And where? At Caleb's apartment. Anybody witness it? Derek hesitated for half a second. Me and Amanda. That half-second pause lit something up in my head. Because Caleb called me 3 nights before he died. Drunk. Angry. Scared. I remembered every word now. If anything happens to me, Don't let Derek touch the Mustang. At the time, I thought he was just venting. Caleb hated Derek for years. Said he was always sniffing around for money or trying to turn every family problem into leverage. But suddenly those words didn't sound paranoid anymore. They sounded like a warning. Ruiz handed the paper back slowly. This appears civil for now, he said. I'm not making any arrests over a vehicle dispute tonight. Derek smirked at me again. That's when Ruiz added, but if this title is forged, that becomes felony fraud. The smirk vanished. Just for a second. Tiny crack. But I saw it. And Derek saw that I saw it. I think we're done here, Amanda said quickly. Ruiz nodded toward me. You got somewhere else to stay tonight, sir? That pissed me off more than anything. My own house. My own garage. My own brother's car. And suddenly I was the problem. I live here. Ruiz looked exhausted. Then everybody stays separated tonight. No more touching each other. Derek muttered. Tell him that. I took one step toward him, and Ruiz immediately raised a hand. Don't. So I stopped. Barely. Amanda and Derek got back into the SUV. Before the door shut, Amanda looked at me through tears and whispered something I almost didn't catch. Just let it go, Ethan. Then they drove away. I stood there in silence while Ruiz lingered near his patrol car. You really think the signature's fake? I asked. He studied me carefully before answering. I think grief makes families do ugly things. That wasn't an answer. Then he lowered his voice. If you want my advice, get a lawyer before this escalates. Too late for that. It had already escalated. The second his patrol car disappeared around the corner, I walked straight to the garage window and stared at the Mustang. Black paint, chrome bumper, tiny dent near the rear wheel from when Caleb backed into our father's mailbox in 1998. I could practically hear him laughing. Then I noticed something strange. The driver's side seat was pushed way back. Caleb never drove like that. He was shorter than me by almost 4 inches. I frowned. Maybe Derek moved it. But then I saw another thing. The glove compartment wasn't fully closed, just barely cracked open. And inside, sticking out maybe half an inch, was the corner of a yellow envelope. My pulse jumped. Caleb hid things in that car all the time. Cash, old photos, spare keys. Hell, once he hid a wedding ring in the air filter because he was afraid his ex-wife would find it. I looked around the driveway. Nobody. Then back at the padlock. Heavy steel. Cheap hardware store chain. The kind that looked tough, but really wasn't. I walked into my shed and grabbed bolt cutters. Not because I wanted the car. Because suddenly, I was almost certain Caleb left me something. And if Derek was desperate enough to chain my garage shut on the day of the funeral, then whatever was inside that envelope scared the hell out of him. The chain snapped louder than I expected. A sharp metallic crack echoed through the neighborhood like a gunshot. For 1 second I froze, bolt cutters still in my hands, waiting for porch lights to flick on or sirens to scream around the corner. Nothing, just crickets. I pulled the chain free, tossed it onto the driveway, and lifted the garage door slowly. The old springs groaned like they were complaining about being dragged into family drama. The Mustang sat there under the fluorescent lights, black paint glowing soft and smooth like Caleb had parked it 5 minutes ago instead of before the funeral. I climbed inside and immediately smelled him. Motor oil, cigarettes, cedar cologne. It hit me so hard my chest tightened. Grief is strange. You can survive an entire funeral holding yourself together, then completely fall apart because a car still smells like your brother. I sat there gripping the steering wheel for maybe a full minute before remembering the envelope. I reached toward the glove compartment carefully. Inside was a yellow mailing envelope folded twice. My name was written across the front. Ethan, all caps. Caleb's handwriting. My stomach dropped. I opened it right there under the garage light. Inside were 3 things. A folded letter, a small silver storage unit key, and a flash drive wrapped in electrical tape. What the hell? I unfolded the letter first. Ethan, if you're reading this, something already went wrong. I stopped breathing for a second. I kept reading. Derek's been pushing me hard about the Mustang and Dad's old land outside Muskogee. I don't trust him anymore. If anything happens to me before I straighten things out, don't let Amanda bully you into giving him anything. There's proof on the flash drive. Take it to someone you trust before the cops get involved. And Ethan, do not go alone to the storage unit. I read that last sentence 3 times. Do not go alone. A cold knot formed in my stomach. Caleb wasn't dramatic by nature. If he wrote something like that, he meant it. I turned the flash drive over in my hand. Black. Cheap. No label. Suddenly, headlights swept across the driveway. I ducked instinctively. A dark pickup rolled slowly past my house. Didn't stop. Didn't speed up. Just crawled by. My pulse started hammering. Maybe coincidence. Maybe not. I shoved everything back into the envelope and closed the garage fast. Then I locked the house doors for the first time in years. At midnight, I finally plugged the flash drive into my laptop. At first, there was only one video file. No title, just a date from 6 days earlier. I clicked play. The footage was shaky, like Caleb recorded it on his phone in a hurry. He was sitting inside the Mustang at night, breathing hard. Bruise under his left eye. I leaned closer immediately. "Ethan," Caleb said into the camera. "If you're watching this, Derek found out about the land deal." My blood ran cold. Behind Caleb, rain hammered the windshield. He kept glancing around nervously before continuing. "Dad never transferred the north acreage before he died. Legally, it still belongs to both of us." I frowned. That couldn't be right. Our father passed 11 years ago. The estate was supposed to be settled long ago. Then Caleb dropped the bomb. "I found out Derek's been using Amanda to get signatures and loans against property that doesn't even belong to him." I sat frozen. Caleb rubbed his swollen eye and gave a bitter laugh. "Yeah, that bruise. Derek gave me that after I told him no." My hands clenched into fists. On the video, Caleb lowered his voice. "If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident." The room suddenly felt 10 degrees colder. Then headlights flashed across Caleb's windshield in the video. He turned fast. Shit. The camera jerked violently. A car door slammed somewhere outside. Then Derek's voice shouted faintly through the rain. "Open the damn door, Caleb." The video ended. Just black. I stared at the screen in complete silence. My brother had recorded evidence saying he feared for his life. 6 days before a drunk driver killed him. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. 2:13 a.m. I answered immediately. "Hello." For a second, only breathing. Then a man's voice said quietly, "You should have left the garage locked." And the line went dead. I didn't sleep at all that night. Every creak in the house sounded like footsteps. Every pair of headlights passing outside made me reach for the baseball bat leaning against the couch. By 4 in the morning, I had replayed Caleb's video at least 20 times. The bruise. The fear in his voice. The way he jumped when Derek yelled outside the car. None of it felt like paranoia anymore. It felt like evidence. At 7:12 a.m., somebody started pounding on my front door. Not knocking. Pounding. I grabbed the bat and moved toward the window carefully. Police cruiser. 2 of them. My stomach sank. When I opened the door, Officer Ruiz stood there with another deputy I didn't recognize. Both looked serious. "Morning," Ruiz said. "Does it look like a good morning?" His eyes drifted past me into the house. "We need to ask you some questions." That sentence never means anything good. I stepped aside slowly. The second they walked in, I knew something had changed. Ruiz wasn't calm anymore. Now he looked tense. "Where were you between midnight and 3 a.m.? I stared at him. "Right here." "Anybody confirm that?" "No." "Why?" The deputy opened a little notebook. "At approximately 1:40 this morning, somebody broke into Derek Hanley's vehicle." I blinked. "What?" "Passenger side window smashed," Ruiz continued. "Interior damaged." I almost laughed from disbelief. "You think I vandalized his car?" Ruiz looked uncomfortable. "Derek says you threatened him yesterday in front of witnesses." "Oh, now we care about witnesses?" The deputy stepped forward slightly. "Mr. Mercer, calm down." That did not help. "Calm down. My brother dies, my garage gets chained shut, somebody forges paperwork, and now Derek suddenly becomes the victim?" Ruiz held up a hand. "We're just following procedure." Then his eyes landed on the bolt cutters sitting near the kitchen counter. Silence. The deputy noticed them too. "You cut the garage lock." "It was in my garage." Ruiz rubbed his forehead. "Ethan, Derek also reported that the Mustang may have been tampered with." I actually laughed this time. A hard, exhausted laugh. "You mean the Mustang sitting in MY property?" Neither officer answered. That's when I realized something terrifying. Derek was moving fast. Way too fast. People only push this hard when they're scared something's about to surface. Ruiz cleared his throat. "Mind if we take a look around?" No warrant, no search. The deputy's jaw tightened immediately, but Ruiz nodded like he expected that answer. Then he said quietly, "You may want to rethink that." My grip tightened around the bat. "Why?" Ruiz looked me dead in the eyes. Because Derek filed paperwork this morning claiming legal ownership of the vehicle and partial access rights to the garage structure. I just stared at him. The garage structure. Who even talks like that? Lawyers. That's who. Derek had lawyers ready less than 24 hours after Caleb's funeral. This whole thing was planned long before my brother died. Then Ruiz lowered his voice. And there's something else. He reached into his jacket pocket and handed me a folded printout. Traffic camera photos. Black and white. Grainy, but clear enough. A dark pickup truck parked across the street from my house around 1:58 a.m. I felt my pulse spike. That truck drove past my house last night. Ruiz nodded slowly. The plates came back registered to a man named Curtis Vane. The name meant nothing to me, until Ruiz added, "Curtis works for Derek Hanley." Well, there it was. The room suddenly felt very small. You think Derek had somebody watching my house? Ruiz didn't answer directly, but he didn't deny it either. Then the deputy's radio crackled loudly. Dispatch voice. Possible disturbance reported at Mercer Storage off Highway 64. Every muscle in my body locked up. Storage. Ruiz noticed my reaction instantly. You know that place? I made the mistake of hesitating, and Ruiz caught it. His expression changed immediately. What's in that storage unit, Ethan? I should have lied. I know that now. But grief and anger make you stupid. My brother left me a key. Dead silence. The deputy and Ruiz exchanged a quick glance. Then Ruiz asked the question that made my blood run cold. Did Derek know about the key? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Text message. Unknown number again. I pulled it out slowly. One sentence. We warned you not to go there alone. Then another message appeared immediately after. Too late now. Ruiz read the look on my face before I even handed him the phone. What is it? I showed him the messages. The deputy muttered, Jesus Christ. Ruiz's entire posture changed after that. Less suspicion, more concern. Who else knows about this storage unit? Nobody, I said. Just me. Caleb left a key inside the Mustang. Ruiz held his hand out. Let me see the key. I hesitated. Not because I didn't trust him completely, but because Caleb specifically said not to involve the cops until somebody trustworthy saw the flash drive. But things had gone way beyond family drama now. I handed it over. Small silver key. Unit number scratched into the metal. B19. Ruiz looked toward the deputy. Call dispatch. Tell them nobody enters that unit until we get there. The deputy stepped outside immediately with his radio. Ruiz turned back to me. You're coming with us. Absolutely. No, he said firmly. You're staying behind me and following instructions. Understood? I nodded. 20 minutes later, we pulled into Mercer Storage just off Highway 64. The place looked half abandoned. Rows of rust-colored storage buildings stretched across cracked asphalt under gray Oklahoma skies. A chain-link fence rattled in the wind. And parked near Building B was Derek's black SUV. My stomach dropped. He's already here. Ruiz swore under his breath. 3 patrol cars were scattered around the property, lights flashing silently. An officer met us near the entrance. Unit doors open, she said. No sign of forced entry. Ruiz looked at me sharply. Stay close. We moved down the narrow corridor between storage units carefully. Every sound echoed. Boots on concrete. Police radios crackling. Wind humming through metal doors. Then we reached B19. The roll-up door was halfway open, and somebody was inside. A man in a dark hoodie was throwing boxes around like he was searching for something. Police! Ruiz shouted. Hands where I can see them. The guy bolted instantly. He slammed into shelves, knocked over plastic containers, then sprinted through the back emergency exit before officers could grab him. Move! Ruiz yelled. 2 deputies took off after him. I stepped toward the unit before Ruiz could stop me, and froze. The inside looked like Caleb had stuffed his entire life into this place. Old tools, fishing gear, photo albums, boxes labeled dad stuff. And sitting on a folding table near the back wall was a desktop printer. Next to stacks of paper, legal paper, titles, loan documents, property forms. My chest tightened. Ruiz picked one up slowly. Then another. Then another. His expression darkened with every page. What is it? I asked. He looked at me carefully. These are forged signatures. I felt dizzy. There were dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. Different names. Different properties. Different loan agreements. But every signature looked strangely similar. Shaky, stiff, unnatural. like somebody tracing identities. Then Ruiz held up one page specifically, and my blood turned to ice. It was our father's signature, on a land transfer dated 3 years after he died. Oh my God! Ruiz looked furious now. This is organized fraud. Then one of the officers near the back called out, "Detective, you need to see this." We moved deeper into the unit. Against the far wall sat a locked gun safe. Its door hung partially open. Inside were stacks of cash bundled with rubber bands. At least 50 grand, maybe more. And underneath the cash, a revolver. Ruiz carefully picked it up using a cloth, then checked the serial number. The silence afterward told me everything before he even spoke. This gun was reported stolen 6 months ago. My pulse hammered harder. This wasn't just Derek's scamming family anymore. This was criminal-level fraud. Maybe worse. Then Ruiz spotted something taped beneath the safe shelf. Another envelope. My name again. Ethan. He handed it to me carefully. Inside was a single handwritten note from Caleb. "If you found this, Derek knows everything now. Do not trust Amanda." That sentence hit harder than anything else so far. Not Amanda too. Please God, not her. Below that was one final line. "There's a second copy hidden under the Mustang." Ruiz looked up sharply. Second copy of what? Before I could answer, gunshots exploded outside. 3 fast shots. Pop, pop, pop. Everyone ducked instantly. Officers started shouting. Then came screaming from the parking lot. And over the chaos, I heard a deputy yell the words that made my entire body go numb. "Officer down." Everything after the gunshots turned into pure chaos. Officers rushed past the storage unit screaming commands over each other. "Move, move, move. Get cover. Where's the shooter?" Ruiz grabbed my jacket and slammed me behind a metal shelf just as another shot cracked through the lot outside. The sound echoed like a cannon between the storage buildings. My ears rang instantly. "Stay down," Ruiz barked. I hit the concrete hard, heart trying to punch through my ribs. Outside, tires screeched. Then came another shout. Black pickup heading north exit. The same truck. The one from outside my house. Curtis Vane. Ruiz cursed and grabbed his radio. Suspect fleeing north gate in dark Ford pickup. Officer hit. Repeat, officer hit. My hands were shaking violently now. This had officially crossed a line nobody could walk back from. Attempted murder. Maybe murder. And somehow my dead brother had seen all of it coming. The deputy beside the entrance yelled, "Shooter's gone." Ruiz looked at me. "Stay here." Then he sprinted outside. I wish I could say I listened. I didn't. The second he disappeared, my eyes drifted toward the note still clutched in my hand. Second copy hidden under the Mustang. Whatever Caleb found, he made backups, which meant he expected the first set to be destroyed, or stolen, or buried. I looked toward the folding table again. Papers scattered everywhere. Forgery documents. Fake transfers. Dead people signing legal forms. Then I saw something half hidden beneath one of the overturned boxes. A photograph. I picked it up carefully and felt my stomach completely drop. It was Derek standing beside a man I recognized instantly from local news. Judge Harold Bennett, district probate judge for Muskogee County. The same judge who handled my father's estate years ago. The same judge who approved several of the land transfers Caleb mentioned. In the photo, Derek and the judge were smiling beside a fishing boat, holding beers like old friends. On the back, written in Sharpie, "Business partners." Holy shit. This thing was bigger than Derek. Way bigger. Then my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. This time it was a photo message. I opened it and nearly stopped breathing. It was my house. Taken right then. Front porch. Garage. Mustang inside. Whoever sent it was there. Watching. A second message appeared underneath. "Go home. Check under the car before they do." Then another. "You have 1 hour." My pulse exploded. Ruiz came running back into the unit covered in sweat and fury. Curtis got away. I shoved the phone toward him. His face darkened instantly. "Son of a bitch. We need to go? Right now?" Ruiz hesitated. Protocol was fighting with instinct inside his head. I could see it. Finally, he turned toward another deputy. "Lock this unit down. Nobody enters without state investigators." Then to me, "Let's move." The drive back felt endless. Rain started hammering the windshield halfway there, turning the highway silver under the patrol lights. Ruiz drove fast. Very fast. "Tell me everything Caleb gave you," he said without taking his eyes off the road. So I did. The flash drive. The video. The warning. The forged title. Every single piece. Ruiz listened in silence until I mentioned Judge Bennett. Then he muttered quietly, Jesus Christ. You know him? Everybody knows him. That answer scared me more than if he'd said no. When we finally turned onto my street, every muscle in my body tightened. 2 police cruisers already sat outside my house. Front door open. Porch light swinging slightly in the wind. Ruiz slammed the brakes. No, no, no. We jumped out fast. An officer met us halfway up the driveway. House was breached about 10 minutes ago, she said. Neighbors heard glass breaking. I ran past her before anybody could stop me. Living room destroyed. Furniture overturned. Kitchen drawers dumped onto the floor. Pictures ripped off walls. They were searching for something. Or someone. Then I saw the garage door standing open. The Mustang still inside. Thank God. I hurried toward it while Ruiz shouted behind me. Wait. Too late. I dropped to my knees beside the driver's side rear tire and reached underneath the frame. My fingers brushed tape. Something small. I ripped it loose. A plastic waterproof pouch. Inside was a thick stack of documents. And a second flash drive. Ruiz knelt beside me. What is that? I opened the pouch carefully. Property records. Bank transfers. Photocopies of checks. And one document sitting right on top. A life insurance policy. $500,000. Beneficiary, Amanda Hanley. My chest went cold. Then Ruiz pointed at the bottom of the page. Look, there was a signature dated 8 days before Caleb died. Witnessed by Derek Hanley. And approved by Judge Harold Bennett. That's when we heard footsteps behind us. Slow clapping. Both of us turned instantly. Derek stood at the end of the driveway soaked in rain, smiling like a man who had finally stopped pretending. And in his hand was a shotgun. Well, he said calmly, this got out of hand fast. Rain poured off the edge of the garage roof, while Derek stood there holding the shotgun like he belonged in some backwoods crime movie. But the worst part? He wasn't nervous. Not even a little. Officer Ruiz slowly moved one hand toward his holster. Derek, he said carefully, put the weapon down. Derek laughed softly. You know what's funny? This whole family always acted like Caleb was the smart one. The shotgun never stopped pointing in our direction. I could hear my own heartbeat over the rain. Ruiz took half a step forward. You're surrounded. Am I? Derek smiled wider. Then red and blue lights suddenly disappeared behind us. One by one, the patrol cars outside my house went dark. Ruiz froze. What the hell? A voice crackled through his radio. Stand down. Repeat, stand down pending supervisor arrival. Ruiz's expression changed instantly. Not confusion. Recognition. That's when it hit him too. Somebody higher up was involved. Derek nodded slowly like he enjoyed watching us realize it. Judge Bennett has a lot of friends, he said. My stomach turned. Ruiz kept his voice steady. You're digging yourself deeper every second. No, Derek replied calmly. Actually, I'm fixing loose ends. Then he looked directly at me. Caleb should have taken the deal. The words slammed into me. You killed him. Derek tilted his head slightly. I didn't say that. You threatened him. You forged documents. You sent people after me. And your brother panicked. Derek interrupted coldly. He recorded videos. Hid evidence. Started acting like some damn whistleblower. The rain hammered harder. Ruiz shifted slightly beside me, trying to create an angle. Derek noticed immediately. Don't. The shotgun lifted higher. Everybody stays exactly where they are. Then headlights appeared at the far end of the street. Black SUV. Slow. Smooth. Judge Bennett stepped out holding an umbrella. Perfect suit. Perfect posture. Like this was a business meeting instead of an armed standoff. I'll never forget that image for the rest of my life. A corrupt judge walking calmly through the rain while my brother's killer aimed a shotgun at us. Bennett stopped beside Derek. His eyes moved toward the documents in my hands. That material belongs to us, he said smoothly. Us. Not him. Us. Ruiz looked sick. You're finished, he said quietly. Bennett actually smiled. Officer, do you know how many people signed those files over the years without reading a single page? He sounded proud of it. Families trust titles. Courts trust signatures. Banks trust judges. Then his smile disappeared. And dead men rarely argue. Rage exploded through me. Before Ruiz could stop me, I lunged forward. Derek reacted instantly. The shotgun fired. The blast deafened me. Pain tore through my shoulder as I crashed into the concrete floor of the garage. Ruiz drew his weapon at the same second. 3 shots. Bang. Bang, bang. Derek staggered backward into the rain. The shotgun slipped from his hands. For one frozen second, nobody moved. Then Derek collapsed face first onto the driveway. Amanda screamed somewhere outside. I hadn't even seen her arrive. She came running through the rain toward Derek, sobbing hysterically. No, Derek. Oh my God. But Derek wasn't moving anymore. Blood mixed with rainwater beneath him. Judge Bennett slowly raised both hands as officers poured into the street from every direction. Apparently, Ruiz's emergency signal had gone through before somebody tried shutting everything down. This time, the backup wasn't disappearing. Armed deputies surrounded the driveway screaming commands. Get on the ground. Hands up. Bennett looked around once, then calmly dropped to his knees, like a man already calculating his next legal strategy. Ruiz kicked the shotgun away before kneeling beside me. You hit bad. My shoulder, I gasped. Blood soaked through my shirt fast. But honestly, I barely felt it, because Amanda was staring at me through the storm with absolute hatred. You did this, she whispered. I looked at her in disbelief. No, Derek did. But deep down I think she already knew. Maybe she'd always known. That was the ugliest part of all this. Not greed, not fraud, not even murder. The lies people tell themselves when they don't want the truth. 3 months later, Judge Bennett was indicted on corruption, fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy charges. Investigators uncovered forged property transfers across 3 counties tied to nearly $8 million in stolen land and fraudulent loans. Curtis Vane got caught in Arkansas trying to cross state lines with cash and fake IDs. Amanda took a plea deal. I still haven't forgiven her. Probably never will. As for Caleb's Mustang, it's still in my garage, right where it belongs. Sometimes late at night, I sit inside it with the engine off and remember those summers in our father's barn. Grease on our hands. Classic rock on the radio. Caleb laughing so hard he couldn't breathe because I dropped a transmission on my own foot. Funny thing is, I almost sold the car after everything happened. Couldn't even look at it for weeks. But one night, I found another note tucked behind the passenger visor. One final note from Caleb. Short. Typical Caleb. If you're reading this, don't let some bastard take what belongs to family. I never will.